let us return to the Cursed City. Hello and welcome to the Battling Barrow, and back in December for Christmas I was generously given the Cursed City by Games Workshop from my wife as a present, and I wanted to get it painted before I played it. I haven't played it yet, so I wanted to get it painted, and that took far longer than what I was expecting. So this video is just all about that journey, how I got it painted. It's not a painting guide. You won't find any painting guides here. My skills are not good enough for that. It's just a video about looking at the miniatures, clipping them, assembling them, undercoating them, getting some paint on, then looking at them once they're painted. So I've waffled now for 45 seconds. Let's get on with the show. Okay, let's grab some sprues and get to work. Now this video has been a long time in the making. In fact, this footage here was back in January and I'm still wearing a cardigan because it's chilly. As well as sprues, let's grab some clippers. Gonna need those. A couple of pairs. And we're gonna need some glue, some plastic glue. I've got a couple of bottles here, both almost empty. I'm probably not going to buy Games Workshop glue again. There's better glues out there for a cheaper price. And we will need the instructions. Now the nice thing is, these are quite nice instructions. The first thing I'm going to do is follow, what's his name, Jensen. Clip out Jensen. It looks quite simple, 4 pieces by the looks of things. And it's just a case of trying to find it on the sprue. Luckily there is a handy picture of the sprue which gives you sort of nice identification where the bits are. It also has some base size diagrams which are useful. And it's just a case of going round and clipping out the sprue. There are some hints I can give you about clipping out sprue. Believe it or not, it's not as straightforward as what you would think. There are some, especially on modern models, there are some small spiky bits and small pokey bits that you have to be careful with. Next, once you've clipped everything out, you have to get rid of any mould lines, any sprue bits that are left in. So with that, I've got this handy tool, scraper tool, that I just scrape along and remove any mould lines, any bits that are jutting out that shouldn't be there. And then it's a case of just continuing clipping bits out. With a box of this size, you will be clipping out lots of stuff. You can spend more time clipping out than doing anything else. And to begin with, it's quite tricky to find the bit in particular, as you have a lot still left on the sprue. As you go on, you will find this gets easier, as there's less bits for it to hide amongst. These are push fit, but sometimes they push fit quite nicely, but sometimes, like this character here, that join is just horrendous. Even though it's clipped out nice and filed nice, and it just will not join. I'm actually using glue here as well, so that would need some post attention, just with some green stuff at a later date. The mentioned earlier on, the base diagram, it has a to scale one here, so it's out of focus, which is really useful. Use that, and then you can pop your model onto the correct base and super glue it in, and you are ready. Let the glue dry. So yes, I mentioned earlier on that it's not all the same as just clipping them out. Some bits like this spear, if you clip out, you run the risk of snapping them, so I just put a bit of pressure behind it with my thumb whilst I clip it out, and it saves it from snapping off. And then you can just go through and do the others. So always do the thinner, weaker bits first, and then clip the others out. Same here with these spiky bits. Modern models have a lot of spiky bits, bit of pressure behind it. Snip that out first, and then snip the rest. Okay, it's spraying, so I do it outside and use a cardboard box as a booth. And I'm using a new spray that I've not used before. So what I do is just one of the sprues, I just do a test spray just to see how this paint reacts to the sprue. So I'd let that dry before I paint it on my models just to see the outcome. It's all good, so I line the models up in my cardboard box and I spray them. From a short while away, and I do short bursts just to make sure there's no globs on. Always shake your spray up to make sure it doesn't come out in one mass blob and cover any detail out. And do multiple layers. So I'll do one side first, spin them round, and I shall then spray the other side. This is really hard to film and do at the same time, so I apologise for most of the time you might be looking at some cardboard. Yeah, so it's just a case of keep spinning round, front and back. Normally catches most of the sides as well if you spray at angles. And then once they're dry, I just lay them down and give them a spray so it gets the undersides. The nice thing about using a cardboard box as a spray booth is once you're done and the glue's all dried, you can just collapse the box down and put it under a bed or behind something. Nice easy storage, ready for next time. Once the undercoat's on, I can come in and I can dry brush a grey. This is mid-grey from Coat to Arms. We are going to do what is now known as the slap chop, but it's just a standard painting technique from back in the day. Once that grey is dry, we can come in with a white. Again, this is a white from Coat to Arms. Dry brush most of it off and just apply it, concentrating more heavily on the top. So this is almost like using it as a zenithal highlight as well, combining two, but not quite, because you will apply this to sort of underneath bits anyway, just because it is getting slappy. And then we can go on to painting. I'm not going to go through the full painting method of all the models here, just give you an idea. So I'm using contrast paints. I love contrast paints for the flesh. This is Gulliman's Flesh, or Gulliman's Flesh. I apologise for my pronunciation, sometimes it upsets people, but hey ho. It's a contrast flesh tone, or a speed paint flesh tone, whatever it is. And I will slightly water it down for this guy, so I want it to have slightly more pale skin. And then it's just a case of picking out some different parts. Here I'm painting his jacket in a sort of leathery colour. One thing to note, if you're using contrast paints, you do have to be more wary about keeping it within the line. Standard paint, you don't have to worry because you can just paint over it, but with contrast paints, just keep it within the lines. And it looks good already just with that contrast, still wet, zenithal slap chop underneath. I'm just going to continue going round, painting, picking out various bits, and I always leave the metallics to last. And once I've done the metallics, that is when I'll clean my water jug out, because I don't want flecks of metallics being in my water. But the last thing I will do is apply a Coat to Arms armour wash over the metal once I've done them, and just move on to all the other models. I shan't bore you with the details of painting guides. I'm not a expert painter by any means. I do this because I enjoy it. What I shall do now is go off and paint all the others. One thing I will note is, whilst I did finally glue these models together, to begin with I had push fitted them, and I'd lost one of the vampire minion heads, so I had to use some blue stuff and cast it from another model. So lesson learned. Even if you push it and see how they go together, glue them straight away afterwards, don't put them back in the box. I don't know how I lost that, so let's see if you notice when we do the grand reveal of them all painted. I did have plans just to paint some, just to get some game done, just to get a first game done at the minimum I needed, but then this video took so long I was able to actually paint them. So rather than listen to me waffle on, let's look at all the painted models. Okay, let's start with the player characters. I haven't memorised all their names yet. I know this is Jensen, but yeah, so Jensen, gun guy, paladin lady, cleric, scary wizard lady, Bob, Timmy, scary necromancer man. Yeah, these are really nice models. This one here in particular, Probably could have done a better fix of the green stuff there, but yeah, compared to how big the gap was on that one, not too bad. One thing I haven't done, you may notice, is the bases. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with them. Leave any comments down below for me. I might do a basing video for these later on. Geek Gaming City basing thing, maybe? I don't know. Let me know what you would do with them. I've set it up here with the backdrop that came with the game. The lovely barcode there. Ruining what I'm trying to do. Yeah, so that's the players. Let's have a look, I don't know, at some zombies? I forgot about the elf. Didn't have the elf set up. Here he or she is, I forget. One thing you may notice, mine might look different to yours. I snapped it off of its base and then reattached it like this. This set's been a bit of a disaster for me, with me losing bits and breaking bits. Also, the braid snapped off of this model. I had to glue it back on. I don't know, just perhaps I was being heavy-handed, but anyway, here's an elf. It's a nice elf. Sort of wood elf. And here they are. It's an interesting take in the zombies, this one, with bits of grave spike to them still attached to them, and bits growing out of them. Hangman there. Kind of suits the game. Not my favourite type of zombie movies. Miniatures. A bit too busy, but definitely grotesque in their own way, you know, with this one with branches coming out of his mouth. I've tried to paint the gravestones kind of mouldy green, mossy green. Yeah, but lovely and detailed. Try to not get any repeats by just sort of mixing up. Close as you can sort of see here. Here's a good example. I'll put these together, but their feet are different if you look, so I've at least tried to, even when they look quite similar, mix them up a little bit. Okay, I mean, they're really detailed models, and a better painter would make them look even better, but yeah, I had fun doing them. Okay, Skillywags. The skeletons are just great, more just traditional skeletons, so you get these and use them in other games too. Really nicely detailed, and I'm happy with them, and I hope you like them. And if someone with my poor painting skills can get them to look this good, then a better painter like yourselves can do it. Make them even look better than what I have here. Yeah, really pleased with these. You look great. I tried to go for some sort of uniform look to them, because they're all meant to be from the same army originally before they become Skillywags. Yeah, just really nice models. I've always liked Games Workshop skeletons. What should we look at next? Rats. Yep, the rat swarms are again great. They're sort of skeletal rats. I like them. Again, you can use these in other games. As well as the rats, we got the bats. Yeah, these are really, really cool. Yeah, I really like them. I enjoy painting these. Again, you can get use of these miniatures for other games, which I shall stop saying because that's pretty obvious. Any miniature can be used in any game if you like, but yeah, hopefully you can see the rats and the bats. Okay, let's have a look at the two big undead ogres. Okay, here's Jimmy and Bimmy. If you know where I got those names from, let me know in the comments. Yeah, super great models. Just who wouldn't like an undead ogre? I've got an undead ogre from Reaper used in D&D. I do like these though. I refuse to call them whatever they're called in Age of Sigmar, because Age of Sigmar is silly. It just renames things for no reason. Ogres, Orcs. I love this rat of a key, by the way. Yeah, Ogres, Orcs, Zombies, Skeletons. That's what they're called. Stop it. Stop renaming them. Pointlessly, needlessly. On the back, just see the detail on the back of the coats. Yeah. Really cool models. Okay, let's have a look at the 3 vampires next. Here they are. So, the lady one. Zoom. Who has a cat hair on her. That's awesome. Do videos with cats, you got to expect stuff like that. Spike here, and the one that's got a face only his mother could love, because this is the one, if you watch the video, where I'd only push fitted them and put them back in the box. I lost his head, so this is sort of a copy of this head, a very bad copy, but ho hum, let that be a lesson. Glue them in straight away. I didn't. I was very foolish, but it still works, still does its job. So there we are. They got furry backs, really nice detailed bases with all the candles on. So these are the vampires spawn, and now we got the big monstery type vampire thing. I forget what they're calling these guys, but a vassal vargar blah blah blah. Anyway, it's a nice model. It's a nice big monster vampire. Sort of reminds me of Gary Oldman in Francis Coppola's Dracula from the 90s with Keanu Reeves. Kind of like that. That's what the face looks like. The makeup they put on. Gary Oldman. But yeah, it's a really cool model. Again, little rat. Yeah, I generally like that. Okay, miscellaneous next. The skeleton with the hangman on. At first, I thought this was a miscast. I didn't realise there was a bag over his head. And I've just seen, really, I should paint this bit here. Amazing what you see on camera. Should be black as well, where it's the sack. So I'll probably finish that up off camera. Raven with key in its mouth. Impy. Ratty. And some gravestones. Here's the rat from that side, imp, Raven from that side, and the other skeleton, which is nice because it's different, doesn't have the bag on. I said I wasn't going to say it, but these would make nice just terrain pieces in a D&D game, for instance. Yeah, I actually like bits like this anyway. They're all sort of almost pointless bits. Scene setting bits, we call those. And last but not least, let us have a look at the enemy heroes. Yeah, there's this guy. Really like this guy. Lovely detailed model with rats, bats, ravens, and a dog upon him. Dripping candle and wax. Yeah, genuinely really like this model. Really nice detailed model. Yeah, super happy with the paint job on it as well. Next up, yeah, this is something from what, Pan's Labyrinth. Very Pan's Labyrinth looking. Love the fact he's dragging a corpse out of the ground and turning him into one of those zombies. Yeah, really cool model again. It's like from Pan's Labyrinth or Silent Hill. But nice. Sort of suits the horror vibe very, very well. Yeah, cool. And last, I've already said that, haven't I? Last but not least, but this is last but not least. Prince Harry, whatever his name is, big bad guy. Yeah, really cool model. Not that Prince Harry's a bad guy. I shouldn't say that. I don't know why Prince Harry was the first thing that comes to my head. Anyway, this guy here, sort of Kislev, Russian-y looking guy, with a dead wolf strapped to him to keep him warm. Yeah, really good model. It's quite big, quite bulky. Should have the intimidation there. So yeah, that's all the models painted. And here's everything in one shot, almost. Yeah, a lot of models. Took me longer to paint than I was expecting because there was a lot of models and a lot was going on at the time. But yeah, got them painted now. I'm going to probably start off with a solo test game. That's my next plan for this, where I just play probably one of the easiest games in there. Let me know what you recommend if you've played this. Obviously not a main quest game, just one of the sort of generic quests or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called. Scenarios, stories, I forget. Anyway, just to I'm going to reread the rules, play the game on camera, and then you guys, if you've played this, can let me know where I went wrong. So when I start properly with perhaps another player playing a campaign of it, we pretty much got the rules correct from the get-go. We probably won't, but if I play a test game, you can let me know where I've gone wrong. So that's my plan, that's my thinking. I hope you enjoyed this sort of weird, sort of almost vlog video of getting them to this stage. Thank you for watching and liking, subscribing and all that amazing stuff. You are wonderful. Until the next video, stay safe, take care, bye bye.